Yo, we are
Live.
live after one of the craziest Big Brother premieres in the history of the show, in the history of the series. We had a 2 hour live premiere, and
Ooh.
man,
Oh man.
I don't know what to say, man.
I don't. Where do you even begin?
I don't know. Well, before we begin, let's just
Okay.
I want to start off by just thanking everybody for the support that we've been getting. It's absolutely I'm blown away. Like, we already have 85 subscribers before the season even started,
Wow, that's
which is absolutely astonishing. So I just want to thank everybody that's subscribed to the channel. Wow. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, if you're watching this later on and it's not live, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, make sure you like the video, all that crazy stuff. Enough of the shenanigans. Let's get right into this, because oh wait, we got to show off the Chilltown shirts. Yeah. The nice Chilltown shirts. They just come in. Mine just came in today. Man.
yeah,
Okay.
finally.
So let's get right into this. So basically, it all started off normal. Julie Chen came on, everybody was pumped up, and we had 8 house guests go into the house first. I don't remember the 8, so it's irrelevant, really. Then, they mingled a little bit, and then we had another 8 go in. And from there, I mean, I don't think there was anything resounding about, the pre-whole twist thing. There was, I guess, that group broke off a little bit. It was Alex, Ramses, Megan, and was it just those 3 at first?
It was just those 3 at first. It was
Yeah.
just those 3 at first. Yeah.
So we had those 3 break out into the loft room or whatever.
Yeah.
And they kind of set up a little gig. We'll get to that later, because there is a point where they actually kind of, solidify something. So then Julie calls all 16 house guests to the living room.
Right.
And she reveals the twist for the night, not for the season. Well, basically for the season, but she didn't reveal the whole Den of Temptation thing yet. She just revealed the twist for the night, that they would be tempted by power, money, and safety. And I guess the first thing that we can talk about is the money competition. So basically, they brought all the house guests out and to sit into these little swing pod things, and they had buzzers. And if you were the first to hit your buzzer, you won $25,000. It was anonymous, so nobody knew. And basically, they were told that if you press the buzzer, then some type of consequence would be unleashed amongst the house. And
$25,000 and a
$25,000 and a consequence. So, sure enough, the old man Kevin snagged the $25,000.
Wow.
We'll start with Malcolm. What do you think about Kevin getting that? This is kind of interesting, honestly.
Dude, I was shocked. I didn't think that Kevin was going to be the one to take the $25,000. And he did it so quick. Like, there was no hesitation. He was like, boom. So I mean, usually with the money, some people kind of take their time. I don't want to be a target, but it was anonymous, so they couldn't see who it was. But Kevin, I didn't think that Kevin was going to be the one to go for it so fast. I mean, there was no hesitation.
No, there was absolutely no hesitation with that. Christian, we'll go to you next. Kevin getting that money, how does this, long term, how could this shape the game?
Personally, since I don't really care for Kevin, I know he's wishy-washy, he's just another old guy. I think it was smart. If I was in his position, I would have smashed that buzzer first, because it also released Paul into the game, and that's amazing, because I would love to play with Paul. But I thought it was a smart decision, man. You got $25,000. That's what the third place person would get. If it was $5,000, I'd probably be like, no, don't really care. But $25,000, yeah, it's worth it.
Dominic, what do you think? 25 grand. Do you think that was like, man, there were some people that didn't press that button. Do you think that $25,000 and to remain anonymous that you should press the buzzer in any situation? What do you think?
It's a free 25K, but if I was in his position, I wouldn't. He didn't know what the consequence was going to be till after the fact. So I would have never pressed that button because it could have been 25K and something completely different than just easily throwing a comp, because he doesn't even have to necessarily throw it. He can just play out and see if he loses, and that would work in his case too. So you just snag 25K, but the negatives is there's another player that has a mindset of winning, and this time Paul is for real. He's not here to have fun. He wants to win.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead if you're here. Say hi in the chat. Hi, Colleen. Hi, Autumn. But yeah, so basically what ended up happening was, okay, well, before we get to what ended up happening or the consequence, I want to talk about a little bit about Kevin. Do you guys believe that Kevin will be able to keep this a secret? In my opinion, Kevin was one of the only guys that I feel like is going to be able to keep this under the radar, just because he just has a cool, calm, and he knows that this could blow up his game. What do you guys think? Do you think Kevin is going to be able to keep this on the low?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. I
do too.
Yeah. So the consensus is that he keeps it on the low. So if he is able to do that, then there's absolutely no way that this could hurt his game, because there is, I mean, if I'm sitting in that cubicle, I'm probably in the pressure, I'm not pressing the button. But sitting at home, I don't see a reason not to press the button, because I would be confident in my ability to hide the fact that it was me. $25,000, big deal, whatever this consequence could be. So we'll get to the consequence. So basically there was a personal consequence and there was a group consequence. The personal consequence was Kevin has to throw the next HOH competition. Now, here's where this comes in, where if they're going to find out that it was Kevin, this is how, because Julie specifically said that you have to throw the HOH competition. Right. So if Kevin makes it obvious that he's throwing it, then boom, they're going to know that it was him. What do you guys think that, do you think this is one way Kevin can get caught?
Now here's the thing, Jalen. If the competition is a physical competition, now this may be a benefit to Kevin because he is the oldest, and I don't think anybody's going to expect this guy to win the physical competition. So I'm hoping for Kevin's sake that it's a physical comp and he doesn't look too obvious by throwing it. So that could work in his favor. But if it's something, else, yikes, he better have some good acting skills when he's throwing that comp.
So. Dominic, what do you think? How do you think Kevin's going to fare throwing this competition?
I think personally Kevin will do completely fine with throwing a comp. It's just he just doesn't have to win. That's all he has to do, and I feel like he's not going to do anything to warrant the other house guests otherwise. Yeah.
Christian, you think he'll be able to
get
it done?
I'm gonna say something about the live chat right now.
Okay.
We're on the topic. It says, I'm just gonna ignore the first one because I don't like that. It says Grodner said that there was a huge fight during the HOH competition due to a temptation. I think that Kevin will not be able to throw the comp well enough, and then he will be found out.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you guys see her interview. Like, she did release a lot. Like, I was really surprised.
She did.
The only thing is I don't see Kevin getting in a huge fight. The reason I say that is because I feel like he's going to be the bigger man in every situation and just avoid conflict at all, costs.
My issue is I do see him not – he doesn't know the game enough to throw the comp well because he didn't even know who Paul was. He's like, I don't know who this guy is, but I don't like him. And I was like, he was literally on last season. I don't think he knows the game well enough to throw it. If it is a physical competition, then it will be hard for him to fall like that. But if it's like a numbers competition, like a guessing, then it will be really, really easy.
Yeah. So, okay, so now that we got Kevin's individual punishment out of the way, we can jump to the group consequence, probably the biggest twist that we will see this season.
Woo.
What was been rumored for weeks leading up to the season, and what has now been confirmed. Your boy Paul has re-entered the Big Brother house, and he is playing the game. Ah, man. So there's obviously a lot of, blowing up on Twitter about this because people are not as a returnee. However, I think Paul brings a different type of vibe to the house that isn't your typical returnee. I don't think I see a problem with it personally because more than likely he's just going to get targeted. And the second thing that I like that they did is they didn't give him safety for a long period of time, which is perfect. So I actually am not mad about Paul being back in the house. Is there anybody that is upset with it?
No.
Here, let me say this. Okay, I love Paul. He brought so much entertainment to Big Brother 18. I think a lot of us wanted to see him win that season. But here's my problem. I saw Paul last summer. I didn't see Cameron. I didn't get to see Cameron on the live feeds this year because Paul took his place. So I'm not upset that Paul is back. I'm more so upset that he's taken the place of someone else that we haven't get to see. That's my only issue with it.
Yeah, I can absolutely agree with that. That is a great point. During the show, I actually just kind of made a little point in my head that they're actually, they're calling this a swap thing. Is there a possibility that when Paul leaves, Cameron re-enters and they re-swap? That'd be cool, but I can't imagine them keeping Cameron in sequester for that long.
I don't know. I mean, there's been so much craziness within these 2 hours. At this point, nothing would surprise me at this point, to be honest. I don't know.
So, Christian, or we'll go to Dominic. What is your opinion on Paul coming back to the game?
I personally love Paul. He was very entertaining last year, and I'm glad he's back. I'll be rooting for him this year. I want to see him do well as a returnee because I don't want to see him ruin his record and completely turn into a worse player than he was last year. Last year he made a stand for himself and he was a great player, all-star worthy, and I don't want to see that ruined. But him replacing Cameron and out of the game, so I don't see them swapping back. I think Paul's in there and Cameron's out.
Yeah, and another thing about Paul is I think he brings one of the biggest personable people that has ever played Big Brother. So therefore, I think it'll be pretty easy for him to integrate throughout the house and not become a target. It all depends, really. I think Paul's fate in the house really depends on who wins HOH. And if he wins HOH, that really shakes things up. But Christian, we'll get to you. I know you're a big Paul fan, so are you happy that he's back?
I'm really happy that he's back, but I'm really sad that Cameron's gone because
me too.
Out of winning, but I didn't like the editing on how Big Brother kind of just it made it really sad, and for me, I just got really sad about it. I'm like, well, he's gone.
Yeah,
it kind of sucks because I knew you could see on his face how huge of a fan he was. But I think Paul coming back into the game is smart because he's not an ethical player. He's not ethical. He's not a normal player. He does things his own way. I think he's going to create a lot of drama and controversy, and he's going to do well.
Yeah. So, okay. So now let's move on to Paul's impact on the night because it was quite large. So once Paul enters the game, that is when Julie calls them back to the living room and announces that somebody will be losing their spot in the game to give Paul his spot in the game.
Right.
And the first thing that Paul was going to be doing was going to be crowning 8 people safe via a safety friendship bracelet. And the house guests had to, quote unquote, tempt Paul into giving him a friendship bracelet. Now, I see a lot of different things, a lot of different aspects breaking away from this whole friendship bracelet thing that a lot of people are going to overlook. Dominic, do you have any okay, well, first I'll say the 8 house guests that Paul awarded friendship bracelets were there were 4 guys and 4 girls, and we had we had Jessica, we had Elena, we had Dominique, and we had Raven. Those were the
Right.
4 girls.
Mhm.
And we had Mark, we had Ramses, we had Kevin, and we had Whistlenut, the rodeo clown, Jason. Those were the 8 people that were awarded safety. And we had some pretty big personalities that were left to hang. What do you guys think about Paul's picks? Were they smart? Were they not? What do you guys think? We'll start with Dominic.
Paul's picks, I think they were what he could do to advance in the game. He had to choose 8 people. He had to leave 8 people, so he was just choosing. And I think he has Josh just wrapped around his finger. Like, he was like, Josh, I'm going to send you in there. You just have to trust me. And Josh still believes that Paul is his number 1, even though Paul just sent him into there.
With the risk I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know if Josh is wrapped around his finger per se.
Not wrapped around his finger, no.
Really, I think Josh is pretty oblivious to Paul.
No, I don't.
I don't know. I think it would have to be a 2-way street for Josh to be wrapped around his finger. That's just my opinion. But we could see it. We could see it, but
I know.
So what else do you think? Because, yeah, that is something that I wanted to talk about. But is there anything else that you could see coming out of this whole friendship bracelet thing?
Yeah, I could.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Christian.
So you guys saw, or the viewers saw, when Cody kept bashing Paul like over and over and over.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Like, I was screaming at my TV. I was like, "All right, man, you better back off, Paul. Like, he will rip you to shreds." I just think that you can't really tell with a recruit if like the BB19 like producers told them to say that in the diary room. I personally think it was just Cody on his own. Alex also said something about it. So some of the people were really hurt that like Paul didn't give him a friendship bracelet. So I think like Alex might attack him. Cody will go after him, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So, Malcolm,
yeah.
Those were the 2 big scenarios that I was going to hit on was the was the Cody and the Josh scenario. What do you think big could potentially come out of that?
Well, it's really interesting because I feel like Paul, even though we haven't seen the first HOH competition, it's almost like Paul was put into the position of being an HOH because he had to make a decision of which 8 house guests he's going to save. You know, this is huge. You just get into the house, you just meet these people, and you have to decide, okay, I got to save 8 of these people. And I like the way he did it. He saved 8 men. He saved 8 women. He really mixed it up, with the personalities. He also mentioned that he wanted to see who was going to crack under pressure. So I think he did a great job with the way that he handled it. I think as a result of this, depending on who is in power, if Paul is not in HOH, the people who he kept safe, they're going to remember that, and if they do get in power, they could keep him safe, and return the favor. So I think, this could be a benefit, an advantage for Paul.
Mm-hmm. So first, we're going to talk about Josh and Paul because I see something brewing here. Now, the thing that struck most interesting to me was you said that Paul was basically testing people. And I think Josh was one of those people that he was testing. And sure enough, Josh remained cool. Mm-hmm. And Josh said, I trust Paul. If he relayed that message in the correct manner to Paul, all of a sudden we might see this duo click because it would be in disguise because Paul didn't keep him safe, as Josh mentioned. Like, we could be seeing something brewing that could become, a powerhouse in this game. And another thing I want to talk about is to all the Josh haters who said Josh was going to act a fool and lose his mind. Josh actually was very cool and collected and under the radar in this episode compared to other players. So I just want to spit that back in your face. And he wasn't the first.
He wasn't the first.
So,
nope.
But what do you guys think? Could we possibly be seeing Sitting Ducks 2.0 between Josh and Paul.
Yeah.
I said, we had heard the rumors about Paul returning, and I said to myself, Josh and Paul are either going to hate each other because they have two strong personalities, or they're going to get along really well. Based off of what we've seen tonight, they seem to hit it off really well. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm hoping that these two can form that Power 2 alliance. And then another thing, Josh had also touched on this, by not giving him that friendship bracelet, it hides the fact that they could have an alliance so people wouldn't suspect, anything. So I think that was another smart decision on Paul's part.
Now, I will say this because this could either become really well or it could go really bad. Because if Josh attaches to Paul so quickly, and Paul is targeted as the vet, who is the person that's going to go on the block next to Paul? More than likely, it would be Josh if he shows that they're so attached so quickly. But if he remains like I think he will and play the distant card, all of a sudden, now we have something brewing. Christian, do you see this being a good thing for both of their games or a bad thing if it was to happen that they were working together in a solid alliance?
Chilltown 2.0.
Yeah, bro.
I feel like
That's a stretch.
Like, good. Chilltown 2.0 is kind of like a stretch, just because they're the greatest third-party game. But I really do see Josh and Paul just teaming up. But I don't think people are like smart enough. Maybe if it was like Final 9, they would try to force them out. But I really don't think they would try to force them out so soon, because everybody will be in alliances, and that's kind of just a dumb way. And I feel like they can manipulate a lot of people through their power.
Dominic, what do you think about Josh and Paul? Good thing or bad thing?
I can't see it yet. It just seems impossible that those two would be the two loudest and yet the two to align. I just don't see it happening yet. But it's still a possibility.
Yeah. So now, and another thing that I wanted to mention was, I don't know why, but something about this episode and Josh being under the radar, I'm just going to make a wild claim now that I see Josh winning this game, and I see him winning it big, in a big way, just from this first episode, because we all saw his strategic value in all of his interviews. We all saw his super fandom, and the big question was whether he could keep it cool or act a fool, and that rhymed. Just saying. But I guess the second episode will really tell. But I saw him under the radar, and I saw him calm, besides whenever he got the apple and started acting, crazy. But, I mean, he was safe. Who wouldn't do that?
Yeah.
But, if he stays like this under the radar, watch out for Josh. Okay, now let's talk about Cody.
Oh, God.
I have one problem with what Cody did, okay? They get in the room, and they're just sitting there.
Oh my God.
How old are you?
I
How old are
love
you?
that. I love it.
Oh, my God.
They don't
I
talk.
love Cody.
I'm fine with that. But the fact that he gets out and complains that Paul didn't give him a bracelet after not saying a single word to him kind of irks me a little bit, because what kind of person thinks you're entitled to something and are going to take it out on the other person whenever it was your own fault in the first place by not talking to him? Season of Cody versus Paul, and I see Cody getting shredded to pieces by Paul. Dominic, I know you like Cody, so we're gonna go to you first. Cody versus Paul, who wins?
I'm Team Cody on this. I thought it was hilarious that he walked in there and he said absolutely nothing. He was just so confident he would win the competition that he didn't want to say anything, and then he went out and actually won, which I thought was hilarious. So on Cody versus Paul, I'm Cody.
What?
Christian, go ahead.
Dang, I think we're going to have our first radical reality TV fight. Cody Ko. Cody's probably the crappiest recruit I've ever seen play this game. It's been one episode and I can't stand this guy whatsoever. I really was pissed. I already said it. I was really pissed when he just starts attacking this guy for man, I'm coming after you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Cody, get out of here, dude. You're the type of people that irk me. Like, dude, you're unwanted. Bye.
Malcolm, what is your opinion on Cody?
Okay, so I am a big fan of the social game. I think social game is so important, and I think that's where Cody missed the mark here. You know, if you don't like someone, I just think you've got to be able to fake it. You got to, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. Now, the problem is Cody was not able to do that. He wasn't able to fake that he didn't like Paul, and as a result of that, Cody had to win that competition in order to guarantee his safety. Whereas if he was able to just fake it and try to, form, some type of deal with them or something, then he maybe wouldn't have had to do that. So I think that's where Cody missed the mark. It was funny and it was awkward to watch, but I think, Cody's going to have to really, look out for that social game. That's going to be a problem for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more that he's just not scared of Paul. Like, I think a lot of people were desperate, and I don't think Cody is scared of being nominated. That's why he just doesn't care, and I love it.
Yeah,
that's fair.
How's he
that's fair.
Way out of it? Because
you don't have to be scared, but I just think you've got to be able to be adaptable,
more aware.
And aware. Yeah. So.
Okay, so now that we're out of that whole temptation thing with Paul. Another thing I want to touch on was the fact that didn't Raven and Paul meet before the show? Didn't they meet at didn't Raven say in her interviews that they met at some show in Arkansas or something?
I don't know. I missed that.
I just remember that, but whenever Raven sat down with Paul, I just saw they seemed like they knew each other or whatever, but I don't know. Could be just some crazy speculation, but okay. Now that we're out of that. Let's get to the competition. So the 8, well, it wasn't 8. How many people were left?
Okay.
Yeah, it was 8. Yeah, it was 8. So the 8 people that were not given friendship bracelets were competing on some type of swing mechanism where they had to stand on and hold a rope.
Yeah, that looked tough, man.
And once they fell, they had to grab an apple, and there were different color apples and different color snakes and all this craziness. And once, as the competition went on, Julie announced, different clues to the apples and such. And there were some things that I want to pull away from this. So, okay. So the competition, obviously we saw 2 things. Jillian sucks at competitions, and Cody is going to be a competition beast.
Yeah, he is.
Nope.
So, Jillian was the first person to drop, then followed by Megan. And I'm just going to be talking high on Josh this entire podcast because, listen, when you're able to think on your feet and adapt to scenarios that quickly in a high tense pressure situation where Julie says, okay, one of the yellow apples has safety in it. Automatically, you have a 50% chance at winning safety, higher than any of the other clues. And he jumps off immediately, goes to one of the yellow apples, and it ends up paying off for him. Bam. I think that was brilliant.
Yeah. That was
whether he got a poisonous or a non-poisonous apple, either way, having a 50% chance, that was higher than any of the other clue combinations added up to. Correct. So that was very smart. And if you're able to adapt and think on your feet that quickly and at that fast of a scenario, that's another thing that you could watch out for Josh on. Okay, now that we're done talking about Josh. So it was Josh that dropped. Then, okay, this order is going to throw me off big time. And then it was Christmas, right? Christmas was next.
And then Christmas left the other yellow apple or whatever.
Threw it. Yeah, she went after the other yellow apple, which I didn't think was smart at all. But she threw the competition, as well as Cameron. I don't know if I'm getting this order right, but it was Cameron, then Matthew, and it was Alex versus Cody at the final. And Cody, so I forgot to mention, but if you were able to win the competition, that was your only way to guarantee safety.
Yeah.
So it was Cody versus Alex, and probably the best punchline of the episode, besides the Nicole Snake comment, was when Cody tried to cut a deal with Alex, which wasn't smart at all because there's no way to cut a deal in that scenario. I didn't understand that. But that's another story. Cody says, let's make this deal. And Alex says, no offense, but I hope you eat bleep. That was good.
Iconic.
That was good. And Alex proved a little something, but we all know that all these women, we all know they're capable this season because they all look fit, except for Jillian, unfortunately, but they all look fit and they all look stable and strong. And I think any of these women can be competition beasts. So,
besides Jillian.
But they go for like an hour and 25 minutes or something, and finally Alex falls. And Cody, the muscle man, the big guy, ends up winning the competition, and he is safe. Whoop-de-doo. We all expected it to happen. So now where the big part comes in, where they're revealing the apples, and Alex is first, and she has safety. Then... Who is next?
Matthew's next.
Matthew is next, and he has safety. Then we get Christmas and Cameron, and unfortunately, they both end up with poisonous apples, meaning they automatically go to the chopping block.
Right.
And let's take a break there because we have 15 viewers watching right now, which is amazing. I just want to say... go ahead and give us some questions in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button. But back to this. So, Chris and Cameron.
So then you have Megan and Jillian are left. They're last two.
Josh too.
Oh yeah, Josh.
Josh by now should know he's safe because Christmas.
Josh by now knows he's safe.
He knows he's safe. Yeah.
And so, because he had the only other yellow apple, so he's safe. And then we get to Jillian and Megan. Mm-hmm. And Megan has the safety apple, and Jillian has the not-so-safety apple. So we have our three nominees, Jillian, Christmas, and Cameron. Mm-hmm. Now, for me, whenever I saw these nominees, I saw a clear person that should go home. Ended up being not so clear. What was your first reaction whenever you saw these three nominees? We'll go one at a time. Mm-hmm. Who was the person that you expected to go home? If we put all the pre-show rumors to bed, out of those three, who would you have voted? I'll go first. Personally, sorry, Christmas, but you got to go. Mm-hmm. Malcolm, who would you have evicted out of those three?
I messaged you when it was happening, Jalen, and I said Christmas might really be over, because she's obviously the most fit. And that's usually the first thing that scares people is, the physical threats. So I thought she was screwed, just right away because of it.
Mm-hmm. Dominic, who would you have evicted in that scenario?
Either Christmas or Cameron. I can't really know because it's a what if, but I probably would have gone with Cameron because he's a microbiologist super fan. So that's a pretty big title for the house. I mean, Christmas does have, I guess she's in physical shape, but like, I just don't understand. Wasn't Cameron on the swing longer than Christmas anyways? So
yeah, Christmas threw it though.
But she clearly threw it for sure.
Yeah.
So I really would have just gone based on his occupation and his obsession with the show.
Yeah, but it would have been a tough choice for me between the two.
Yeah,
but
same.
I don't know. I honestly, now that I think more about it, I don't know which one it would have been. But Christian, what do you think? Who would you evict? Cameron, Christmas, or Jillian?
Jillian, of course. Jillian doesn't need to be there. She shouldn't go right now.
As a viewer, I agree with you, but in the game, man, I would have kept Jillian in that game. I will ride with her until the final two because she is absolutely nothing. She has no articulation. She has no articulation with her words.
Not wrong.
She like if I got to the final two with her, I feel like I could convince her to tell the jury why I should win. Like that's how like
stop.
That's how like in autumn like
I win 9-0, 100%.
Yeah, Exactly. Like, she's like the one person that can't like talk like English, I feel like. Anyways, that leads us to this comment. Cade says, "Does anybody feel like Jillian is very boring?" That is all of us, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
She,
Who said that?
Cade says that.
But if I could like that comp or like that, I would.
Okay, so now next we have already got the money, we've already got the safety. Now we are on to the power, which really ends up being no power at all.
This was
I
crazy.
mean, in my opinion. So the house guests that are on the block get to vote on the way that they want to be voted out, or on the way they wanted to be removed from the game. I guess you can call that power, if you will. But the choices were either you could do a safety competition or a safety vote. And it ended up being a safety competition. So, I mean, excuse me.
A vote.
I missed it. It ended up being a safety vote. Now you would think, oh, okay, it was a safety vote. So the two votes for safety vote were obviously Cameron and Jillian, because Christmas is obviously going to want to go to a competition. Wrong. And that shocked me. What is she doing? Like, she can win any competition, I feel like, and she's going to a vote? Like, I mean, either that's really good for her because it shows she's not playing with fear, or it's really bad because it shows she doesn't know what she's doing. What did you think about that? Were you shocked, Malcolm?
I was shocked, but I'm so glad she did it. I'm so glad she took that risk and made that decision. You know, Glenn from BB18, he didn't get that choice. He left the game because of a competition. Twice. You know, the first time it happened and with the buyback. He didn't get the chance to be evicted. He was never evicted. He left the game because of a competition. So I feel like that was smart for her to take that risk, because she's got to, you know, okay, let me see where I stand with these house guests. Let me try to convince them to save me. And then if she did take the competition, that could have maybe hurt her, because it just only proves that she's really a strong threat, physical threat. And maybe she didn't want to show that again, you know? So I'm glad that she did it. Shocked that she did it, but I'm glad she did.
Yes, I was. Wow, was I shocked as well.
Yeah.
Was I glad per se? Not necessarily that she did it. Because I feel like if she would have picked the competition, we would have been saying bye to Jillian, which would have been nice.
That's true too. But for her game.
Yeah. So Dominic, what do you think? What were you expecting? Were you expecting a competition or a vote?
I was expecting a competition, but wait, what was I thinking? I was gonna say something. Yeah, okay. I was expecting a competition, but when I saw a vote, it's still understandable because we only see 2 hours of the 12 they've already spent in that house.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly Christmas was confident in her social game and the bond she had already made. We just don't get to see that part. We didn't have fees. We don't get to see what all Christmas has done. We just got to see a bit of the campaigning and conversations. But Christmas could have been all over that house beforehand, preparing, knowing there might be a vote. And she was confident to test her house guests. I mean, a pretty large gamble, but she was confident enough. And all we've seen is 2 hours, so we can't really judge her choice based on that. But I see she probably was safe either way.
Yeah. So Christian, what do you say, man?
I kind of I was gonna say literally the exact same thing that Dominic said. She knew she was safe. I could see during the competition how people were rooting for her and stuff. There was people shouting her name out. I don't really think anybody else's name was shouted out. Jessica was shouting out her name, stuff like that. So she knew she was safe. Really, she's gonna have a good social game. So I think either decision for her was the correct one.
Yeah. So, okay. So now that we have our decision, they kind of start scrambling, and this is whenever it starts going downhill for a certain person, and we can just kind of all feel the sadness. You know, I was up to this point, I was calling this the greatest premiere in Big Brother history because just of how exciting it was. And then we get to the point where one of these people's, dreams and hopes is about to get snatched right out of their hands 12 hours into going into the game.
12 hours. 12 hours.
So I don't even know if it's worth talking about the campaigning because it wasn't really much. It was more of just a lines of, yeah, man, keep me safe, or I'll keep you safe, or this, that, and the other. They all had, so pretty much all of the other house guests, all they did was went off their gut and their instinct. Mm-hmm. They didn't even show alliances forming. They didn't show anything like vote-wise. So we go to the vote, and we don't even get to see the votes until the end of the episode.
I don't like that.
So it comes back, and with 2 votes to evict, Christmas is safe. And then by a vote of 8-3, unfortunately, Cameron was removed from the game. He was evicted. Very sad and very, just not okay in my opinion because, like you mentioned, that Paul – I love the fact that Paul is back in the game.
Right.
But at the same time, I hate the fact that it took away somebody else's, chances in the game. So, it's just so unfortunate, and
it is.
I was shocked, honestly, that Christmas did not go home. But what can you do, man? Was there any positive from that last part that we can pull out of this, I really don't think so. What do you think, Malcolm?
Like I said, it was an iconic premiere, but the way it ended, it's just like, it just put like a little sour taste in your mouth towards the end because you feel so bad. These people, they want this so bad, man. And 12 hours, to go out like this, it's got to be a tough pill to swallow. I get casted, I'm excited. I go in the house. But then I found out someone who's played this game last year got second place. I'm feeling some type of way about that. It's a bummer. It's a bummer.
And the more and the more that we talk about this, in the back of my head, I just keep on reminding myself all this, and Kevin walks away with 25 G's.
I know.
Whew. That's pretty cool. And not only, another thing that I want to talk about from Kevin was we saw a little bit of his little sly side because Cameron walks into the storage room and asks Kevin if he has his vote. And Kevin says, yes, I got you. But sure enough, Kevin votes out Cameron. Mm-hmm. So not only is Kevin $25,000 richer, he's got the ability to lie to someone's face and not give a damn. You know what I mean? Which is pretty impressive. So I guess we could hop right into the votes. So there was 5 votes that weren't for Cameron. The 2 votes for Jillian ended up being, the 2 votes for Christmas ended up being Jason and Josh.
Okay.
And the 3 votes for
Jillian
ended up being the 3 alpha males, Mark, Cody, and Matthew.
Okay. Gotcha.
And everybody else voted for Cameron to leave, unfortunately. Yeah. I don't think that has anything to shape up. It's not shaping up alliances. It's not shaping up who's on the outs, who's on the ends. I think it was just a big cluster, of voting. And, it was all a, big rigmarole. But did the amount of votes surprise you? Did it wasn't really close surprise you? Did who goes home? Does anybody have comments on the 8-3-2 vote? Does anybody, think it should have went differently per se? Dominic, what do you think? What were you surprised whenever, Julian?
I wasn't surprised. I knew. I'm just glad it wasn't. If it had been a unanimous vote with the little knowledge they had, I would have just had no hope for the season. But luckily, that wasn't unanimous. So really, that was my only concern.
Yeah. I was glad that it wasn't unanimous and enough people had, voted for you know, I mean, it was a huge majority, but same time, no, it was 8 to 3 to 2, which was nice.
Even
So,
with all the other votes Cameron didn't get combined, still didn't beat his 8.
right. So the next part of the show was Julie talking about the Den of Temptation twist, and
Oh yeah, I still have to vote for
Malcolm,
that.
do you want to? What did Julie call it? The what? What was it called?
The pendulum of protection or pendant of protection.
Pendant of protection.
Do you
It's
want
so
to?
much.
You want to describe what?
Okay,
Julie
so
said?
yeah, so basically, as we kind of figured, each week America has to vote to give temptation to one house guest. So the pendant of protection, they will have 3 weeks of safety from eviction, but it also comes with a consequence which we don't know as of yet what that consequence is. So we got to vote now. It sounds like on who to give that to, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah. So basically, we're voting every week to send somebody into the Den of Temptation, and it wasn't told whether somebody could win it back-to-back weeks, if somebody could only win it one time, if somebody could win it.
Oh no, only one time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can only win
Only
it
one time. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that is
Only one
perfect.
time. Yeah.
That is perfect. At the end of the show, I'll give my ideas to the viewers what I
Okay.
think should happen, because even though I'm not playing the game, I still got a little strategy brewing. But so the whole Den of Temptation thing, basically the thing is 3 weeks of safety, but it comes out of consequence, of course.
Right.
So that opens the door for a lot of different things. So well, I guess I'll share my opinions on what I think should happen with this whole twist thing, the first temptation. So personally, I already voted, and I split my votes between Cody and Jason, because
Okay.
I want to give this twist to somebody that I don't like, and that's for 2 reasons. Or somebody that I just want to go early, and that's for 2 reasons, because they're going to get a consequence if they accept it. And the second thing is, after that 3 weeks is up, they're likely going to be a target. So we saw this with Netta and BB Canada 5. So likely, if you have safety for 3 weeks, after that 3 weeks is up, likely you're going to target. So Cody and Jason, 2 guys for me that's like, I don't really, you know what I mean? Go ahead, take safety for 3 weeks, hoping that they can't play in an HOH, hoping that they can't do any of, power veto or whatever. What, Dominic, what do you think should go down with these votes? Who do you want to see voted into the Den of Temptation?
Okay. I have not voted yet. I have not casted my vote. I was gonna split it at first, but then again, I was thinking, I'm like, every year if there's an America's interaction, the casual viewers are the ones that get their way. So literally, our votes won't matter. So I'm just gonna put it on who I'd want. I'm not gonna try to do any strategy behind it. I will probably put 10 or 20, whatever it is, how many there are, onto Dominique. I think she's just been pretty quiet so far, and I think she deserves a little safety. But really, I'm not putting that much into it because it's just going to be whatever the casual viewers will.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, if you can only be voted for it once, that clears the good with the whole, remember MVP, what's that girl? Alyssa just kept on getting getting MVP.
Oh, yeah, that drove me insane.
I was afraid that was going to be with Paul, but unfortunately, you could only win it once. So get a bad, character out of the way first. I would hope to see maybe Jason go in, or if Jason went in, that would just be perfect. Yes, he's got 3 weeks of safety. He probably can't compete in HOH. He's going to blow up his game, and he's going to get voted out as soon as the 3 weeks is over. So that would be my perfect scenario. But Christian, do you have any idea what people should do with their votes?
Well, I've already voted because I'm going to vote 10 today, and then it restarts at 12. So for me, I have enough people that I like in the cast, and I don't feel like the twist is going to last that long, maybe 8 weeks. So I know the 8 people I would want for them to win. I voted for Josh because in my mind, I do see Josh a little bit exploding his game, just because like he was really like out there with Paul. So I feel like as like the live feeds will start, he will, I don't know, he'll just annoy people unless he really does just keep it quiet. But I want Josh to win. But you guys are right that the viewers that don't really watch the feeds and stuff, those people are probably just going to influence it and pick the person with the most DRs or something.
Paul is going to go in there first.
You think?
Absolutely.
Probably.
I can see it happening. All right, so let's get to some comments. Do you think Josh will be the Zach Rance? I don't know. I could see it, but hopefully he brings some strategy with it.
Smarter.
Yeah.
Josh is intelligent.
Yeah, Josh is very smart. I thought they would. Go ahead.
DRs?
Go ahead.
Any DRs whatsoever?
Got a few.
Yeah, he got a few.
He got a good DR at the beginning about Jessica.
Yeah, I don't think Mark got any. Mark, the buff guy.
No.
I don't think he got any.
There were a few guys that were way under the radar for the DRs. I kind of knew Cameron was going home from the beginning because he got like 16,000 DRs that episode.
There's no way I'm going home. I can't be first boot.
Why?
Yeah.
I'm going to calculate them as I rewatch the episode. Just write them.
Dakota says, I thought for sure they would have voted out Christmas. I'm with you. I thought that was a lock for her to go home in that scenario. But, I mean, her charm, her whatever, her muscles kept her in long enough. So maybe we could see her. I mean, the thing that worries me is they had her in such a vulnerable spot and they didn't vote her out, that it's never going to happen. You know what I mean? That's what worries me. Like, they had her a big threat in such a vulnerable position where they could easily vote her out and not even get her a chance to play the game, but yet they kept her. So watch out for Christmas. She could be dangerous. So, I mean, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about? We got about, 9 minutes left before the hour ends. Is there anything that I missed or anything that you guys saw? Go ahead, Christian.
Remember earlier you were talking about who entered the house and stuff? Well, I did my research literally like 3 minutes, 3 seconds actually after you did that. And Alex entered the house first, guys. The curse will keep going because we know she's not going to win. So it'll last 19 seasons now.
Yeah. Alex will not win this season. Although hopefully she brings some more. Hopefully she brings some more great comments, like she did for Cody.
Their network just bashed her. They're like, "Well, she won, but it doesn't matter, guys." Or she came in first because it doesn't matter, guys, that she won't make it past week 5. I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. So now that we have this 2-hour episode, kind of wrapped up and explained. Let's talk about what's going down tomorrow because we have a big show planned after the episode at 9 o'clock Eastern till 10 o'clock Eastern, and then we will be going live around the same time as today, right afterwards. And we are going to be staying. Well, let's talk about the episode first. We're going to get the HOH competition and the nominees. That should be interesting. But we are going to be live from 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. till 1 a.m. Eastern, 3 hours in total.
Wow.
Hyping up the live feed. So I know everybody's going to want something to do in between the time the episode ends and the time the live feeds comes on. So come back and check us out. We're going to have a bunch of special guests on, from the audience. If you want to come on the show tomorrow, just shoot me a DM. We're going to have people on for 30 minutes, 15 minutes. Who knows what could go down tomorrow, because we got 3 hours to pass and we're only going to spend about an hour talking about the show. So for the next 2 hours, who knows what could happen. Just come back to check that out. And another thing that I want to announce, you guys have been blowing up, everything. And I look now and we're at 87 subscribers. I'll make a deal with the audience. If we can get to 100 subscribers by the end of tomorrow's episode, I personally will give out a free month of CBS All Access to somebody to check out the feeds. So if you guys want that, get your friends to subscribe to the channel because, we're growing huge. And I think it'd be cool for that huge show to hit 100 subscribers and to give something out and, just saying thanks for the, all the support that we've been getting. But yeah, for sure. That show tomorrow. Oh, I'm so excited. What about you guys? Are you guys excited for it?
I am so excited. I can hardly wait, man. Bring on the feeds. I'm ready.
Yeah. So basically, we're going to have a pre-feed party. Whoa. A pre-feed party. And, we're going to try and pass the time as quick as possible because that's the next milestone is getting to those feeds. And then the summer really starts, and we are going to be nonstop doing podcasts all summer, just like this one. After every single episode, we're just going to be, banging out the podcast because, we're just a group of guys that like to talk about Big Brother. So it's going to be interesting. We hope you guys enjoy this summer with us. But I think that's going to do it for this show. Follow us all on Twitter. I have the Twitters down in the link. And yeah, I mean, we're excited. We're ready. But we're going to see you guys tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern after the live show with the new HOH, with the nominees, and then all the way up till 1 a.m., 3 hours when we get the feeds. Thank all the people who are tuning into this show. We'll be back, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.
Good night.